Okay, so this is very exciting. What I have with me here, in my bag here, is the first ever Nikon Mirrorless. G'day Shakers and Groovers, welcome back. Great to see you if you're here for the first time. I've got some very interesting things to talk about in regards to the Nikon Mirrorless, addressing what I think the adapter might look like, and addressing how good I think the focusing might be, and addressing how well the adapter could work. So this is very exciting. What I have with me here, in my bag here, is the first ever Nikon Mirrorless. It's very, very exciting. I can't wait to show it to you. So you're going to say, how did I do it? Well, here it is in my bag. Now, it does take the adapter. It's not a complicated adapter, it's just an adapter that takes into account the distance required for this lens and 35mm, and it just passes through the electronics. That's all it is. So this is very exciting. Do you want to see it? Okay, not exactly what you were thinking, but it is. There was two at the time, the J and the V, and this is the first ever Nikon mirrorless camera. It came out in 2011. I got one back then, before I got my A7R from Sony, because I was so excited about the potential for mirrorless. And you know, I got it at the same time that I had my Nikon D3S or my D4, can't remember, one or the other. And of course, it was no competition to that, so I promptly put it back on the shelf, which is why this thing looks like it's brand new, because I've pretty much never used it. I used it a little bit and just went, So, I'll tell you a little bit about this camera. So, it has phase detect focus. That's exciting. It came with two lenses when I bought it. I bought it in early 2012, even so it came out in 2011. And these were the two kit lenses it came with. It came in black and in white. I love the Stormtrooper colours, so that's why I got this one. But the reason I stopped using it was this tiny sensor, which had a crop factor of 2.7. Now, I knew that when I bought it, but I didn't really know what that meant in practicality as to how much of a difference it would make. It's a 10 megapixel camera, so that's pretty good compared to say a D3 or a D4, which were 12 or 16. It shoots 1080p at 30 frames per second. We might even see what that looks like. So a nice enough camera, but it just didn't compare with what I had at the time. So it occurred to me from my last film, which was the Nikon Mirrorless. It's a big deal, and it's so much is a big deal, and there's been a few more leaks since we last spoke, and that there's going to be a full frame 24 and a full frame 45. And I'm not the only person who thinks there's a chance we might see a slightly larger sensor, 645 or something like that style sensor. Happy to be wrong. But people talked to me a lot about the adapter, and you know, the adapter is going to be I think it was an SLT style adapter. It's going to have a prism in it and all these sorts of things. And in the back of my head I was going, why is that necessary? If you've got on sensor detection and the sensor's looking through the lens and it sees the scene, then that's how it's just going straight through the lens onto the sensor. It's doing the focusing. You go from there. You don't need to bounce that picture off to another sensor. I don't understand that. So from that, I reminded myself that this camera existed. They've been doing mirrorless since 2011, and they made an adapter, that worked with my lenses. And here is this adapter. Let me just take off. So this is my original 24 to 70, 2.8. There's the adapter. Tiny little thing. What is that? About an inch, 2 to 3 centimeters, front to back, straight pass through, and then you've got just all the electronic couplings here to go onto the camera and on the front to go onto the lens. So I see absolutely no reason why we won't have this sort of adapter for now what seems to be named the Z. It's exciting, isn't it? Was it the Z6 and the Z7? I see no reason why we can't just have something that accommodates for the flange distance and passes through the electronics. The light through the lens comes through, hits the sensor gets its focus, and there we are. So it should be that simple. And there's no reason why this can't be engineered to be exactly what it needs to be. The focus speed is determined by two things. First, there's focus acquisition, which is done by the sensor now in a mirrorless camera. And then there is the speed at which the lens drives its motors to get into focus. So that is determined by the lens. Focus acquisition is determined by the camera, and that comes down to what Nikon have done. And we don't know what that is yet. So that's what I think the adapter will be, something like this. And I think it'll give us, from a sharpness and so on perspective, 98 to 100% of our expectation. From a focus speed perspective, you'll get the same as the lens. If it's a modern S series lens and so on, you'll just get the speed of the motors that's in here. So be it. The power will be driven through these couplings, and then the only final point left is the actual focus acquisition, which is done by the chip and the software and so on and so forth. We'll wait and see what that looks like. So 2011, this beautiful camera came out, the first ever Nikon mirrorless. Not full frame, of course. So let's put my Generation 1 24 to 72.8 on. Look at that, that's pretty cool, isn't it? So there's the adapter. It would be something exactly like that. This is all metal. It's a very, very beautifully constructed adapter, and that gives you a lot of confidence. And there is that 24 to 70 locked on, and everything is feeling amazing and tight and perfect. So this has been sitting on the shelf in front of me for the last 7 years because I think it's so pretty, but I had no idea where the battery charger was. I went to it, pulled out the battery, and lo and behold, it's the same battery that's in my D800, D810, and D850. So I was able to just slot it into my regular charger. There it is there, and drop it in. And lo and behold, and they used a Pro battery. That's so great. That's so great. And lo and behold, it works. There it is. It's on. Now, it's got a cool little screen. It's got a menu system that I thought for the time was really gorgeous. Look at those colours. It was very pretty, and it's a very simple menu. Like I said, you can shoot 1080i at 60 or 1080p at 30. So even back then we were doing HD. But this is the question we're all interested in. How well does it focus? Now I'm just checking. I'm in camera taking mode. Here we go. So we're in camera mode. So what I'm seeing here is with the appropriate amount of light, and let's keep in mind this camera is 7 years old, it focuses very fast. Let's go up there, then let's go back to getting. So that is very fast focus acquisition. I've just been, so that is very fast focus acquisition. We've just recorded that, so I'll be able to play that back for you. And then let's go to stills for a second. Oops. There we go. And I want to, so that focus acquisition was really fast. Let's go up there, get the roof. And let's go back here. Yeah. And then let's see if we can focus this close. Rightio. So if anybody is worried about how fast this is all going to work, they shouldn't be. So you just change the shutter. Just change the shutter with this button here, and you rotate that to change the aperture. And we've got full aperture control. It's great. Look at that focus. It's crazy fast on this big old lens. Then back to you. So, this camera alone says to us, Nikon know a fair bit about mirrorless. They know a fair bit about adapters that work with their lenses and their bodies, and it's working like a cracker. And this, again, to repeat, is with the original Nikon 24-70 2.8, which I think I probably got in about 2008. We'll go back to video mode, and I will shoot, it will record some of this focus speed stuff. Now it's possible, there we go, focus. Now focus appears to be a bit slower in video, which there's some logic to that, but that's fast. So that's moving from a meter to about 30 centimeters, boom. So that's the adapter, there's no magic happening here. This is from 2011. I think we're going to see an adapter of this variety. Let me just stop that recording. I think it's going to work really well with current Nikon glass. And that's all I wanted this film to really be about, saying, so here we are. Nikon have history, probably the development of this started 10 years ago. They have history with mirrorless, they have history with adapters. This adapter is fast in focusing. This is not, this is an on-chip focusing camera. I'm very excited. So here you have it. The first ever Nikon mirrorless camera with an adapted full frame Nikon lens. Next Wednesday is going to be great. I can't wait. Oh, also, so what do you think? What do you think? Having seen this, a Nikon mirrorless from 2011 with a Nikon adapter, Nikon full frame pro lens, it's working, it's fast. What do you think? Does this make you feel more confident? Does this make you feel less confident? It certainly makes me feel more confident having a Nikon product that's this old, doing such a good job with this old mountain of a lens, and it's going zip, zip, zip and focusing. It's a nice stormtrooper though, isn't it? It's a nice stormtrooper. Hey, and if you're interested in me doing a little bit of a historical review on this thing, I bet they're cheap now. Let me know. Thanks guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope for those who are Nikon fans, that's made you even more excited. And I hope for those who, I don't know, not Nikon fans or maybe are in another system, don't worry, your system's cool as well. All I'm doing is talking about what I think is going to happen with Nikon. I don't mind whether you use Sony or Canon or Hasselblad or Fuji or Phase 1. I don't mind at all. Of course, sometimes companies do things for commercial reasons, like if this body can go full frame, we might not see full frame for 3 years or 5 years, just because they don't want to do that yet. And that's okay. I still think there's the engineering possibilities to have a larger sensor in this body. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, please share, you know, it'll make you smarter. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Can't wait for the Nikon Mirrorless. It's a big deal, and this is a really nice camera. And I'll show you some of the shots that come out of it. I'll take a few as I walk back to my car. All right. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Okay, bye. Flying.